Hennessy, come out and play.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big breaking TV.
Yo, what's poppin', Henny? Gang. Bar is open, y'all. I smell a debunking video coming on. Ciao. Least we not forget, this is Hennessy Reviews.
Having a prime time.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the bar. It's your favorite goss and doc tender, that girl Henny, and I'm here to give you your hot shot of some Diddy court docs right now. As we all know, we are sitting here and we are waiting for tomorrow. Because tomorrow is D-Day for Diddy, because they're going to find out, we are all going to find out, including him and everybody around the world, what it is that Judge Arun Submaranian is going to sentence him to. Now, if you've been following the channel, we've been keeping up with some of everything that was going on with him, but not all of everything, because it's been a lot of little things that have been going on. Now, yesterday I did a video, and I do apologize that if you were on the replay, the sound quality was horrible. It was horrible. And y'all didn't even tell me. And I'm holding y'all accountable for that. Because how dare y'all not tell me that I was out here sounding like a freaking goonie goo-goo. Because I can't think of nothing else to say. Why y'all ain't tell me that, though? If the sound is sounding a little janky, I need y'all to tell me. Because y'all can't have me out here looking crazy in these streets. Anyway, your girl is looking a little tired because your girl is not sleeping, but that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. If you want to find out what's going on with Henny and in Henny's world, you've got to follow me on IG, that girl Henny Reviews. All right, because then that's where you will find out what the hell Henny has been up to. What the hell? But I do want to take the time to say, if you are new here, welcome. Please be sure to like, comment, and of course, subscribe. Click the notification bell, select all so that you get notified whenever I do a video. And if you are a returning Mob Down Henny Gang member, yeah, now we're going to get into a little bit of this content. Now, yesterday I came and I spoke to y'all and I told y'all a little bit about what was going on when it came down to the Diddies and all the things that was going on with the Diddies, right? Well, it seems like there has been more kabuffling that has been going on. We've already read all of the victim impact statements that came from Cassie, from Mia, from Chef Jordan, from Deontay Nash, and Capricorn Clark. And now we have another re-entry from none other than Gina. Now, my thing with all of this is Gina has been out here playing in everybody's face, including the government's, all right? Because, I mean, the first letter that she wrote, she was talking about how she felt safe and he never did anything to her. And we did a whole little thing on how she got up there on Tasha K and put her business out there in them streets. And that's how we even found out what was going on between her and Diddy, because she put the find out there for everybody to find out. Right. Let me get these comments on the screen for y'all, even though it's kind of small. Hey, Blue Rock TTV is in the cipher. The bar is open and he can't get a little pour up. So y'all be sure that y'all go over there and y'all follow Blue Rock TTV as well, because he pours up on a whole nother level. He sips with his pinky out. Anywho, so now Gina, as we know, wrote that letter, but it looks like Gina is back in the clicks, because here she goes. She's written another letter. Okay. She's written another letter. And we're going to get into Gina's letter, because in all honesty, if I'm going to keep it 100 with all of you, as I always do, Gina's letter is downright disturbing. All right. And I'm going to tell you why it's disturbing to me, because a lot of people are not going to, okay, we do also have, I'm sorry, I was reading something. So we do have also a letter, a response back in from Judge Arun Submaranian when it comes down to allowing Mia to testify in court. Now, I have not read it. I just saw it at the end of the letter. And so I'm going to be reading what he said when it comes down to Mia coming and saying her little 1-2 with Judge Submarinian. So now let me go ahead and let me get this document up here. All right. Get my screen how I like my screen to be. And yes, we are on the StreamYard today, even though I love me some Restream. All right. So is this it? Yes, this is the letter that we are looking for. Let me put my watermark on it the way I like my watermark on it. And we are going to go ahead and read into this. Now, I did read this letter in its entirety. And what I am going to say is, warning, this letter may piss you off as you read it. Viewer discretion is totally advised. All right, so now let's see what Gina had to say, because if you know anything, you know that Gina is the pick-me that is out here definitely playing both sides of the fence, and I don't care what she says. I believe she's getting something on the back end because there is no way. All right, so now let's listen to what she's saying. She says, "Dear Judge Submarinian, I know you are sentencing Sean Combs on Friday, and I have been thinking a lot about it. I saw in the press letters letters were submitted by many concerning the sentencing. No one asked me or told me to write this letter, but I felt my voice should be heard as I was identified as victim number 3 in the case." Pause right there for a second in this letter, because baby, let me explain something to you. Gina, we already knew that you was victim number 3 in this case, baby doll. We don't need you to keep reiterating that. That's 1. 2, you have already told us how you felt about Diddy, that you wanted them to free Diddy, even after you came out here and you told us that Diddy did debauchery with you. And the things that he did was diabolical towards you. You told us that he forced you to terminate pregnancies, that he put hands and feet and knee bows all on you. And now you are coming before the public to tell us that Diddy has not done anything. And now you want to write a second letter? I believe nobody told you to write a letter because you had already written a letter. So therefore, it's a little bit of overkill. If I'm glitchy right now, you guys, you know why that is. And it's because y'all know that I don't charge the way that I'm supposed to charge. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to turn my camera off. Hold on. Let me get this camera off so that you guys can focus on the content and not focus on how I'm stuck or frozen or making faces or whatever the case may be, because I need you to pay attention to what's going on in the case and not Henny's face. I rhymed. All right. Let me see. Why is everything is moving slow right now, you guys? All right, so can y'all hear me good is what I need to know. Let me know if y'all can hear me good. Am I too loud? Is the music too loud? Are we good? Hear you fine? Everything's okay? Yes, all good. Okay, so now let's continue. So she goes on to say, and I understand charges that were brought concerning me, including accusations of sex trafficking and prostitution. Girl, I'm going to let her finish before I say something. She goes on to say, I cooperated fully with prosecutors. I met with them 3 times, answered their questions, and gave them all the information and evidence I had, including pictures, videos, and text messages from my phone. During those meetings, I felt pressured to feel like a victim. I told them I was not, but they insisted that I was, even when I expressed my truth otherwise. I understood they concluded that I had been sex trafficked and involved in forced prostitution. I didn't agree with that conclusion. I was not trafficked. I did not engage in prostitution with him or others. That would have been my testimony if called to the stand. I was subpoenaed and fully prepared to testify and answer all questions truthfully. Now, I want to go back for a second, and I want to put a pin in something, but I want to come back to this portion right here. It says, I was subpoenaed. Yeah, I was subpoenaed. Now, there were people that were arguing me down that Gina was not subpoenaed into court, especially being that she was a victim. And I kept telling people I was sitting in the courtroom. I heard what the lawyer said. The lawyer said that she was subpoenaed and she did not show up to court. So when I was talking about Gina facing consequences for being subpoenaed and not showing up to court, I was speaking correctly. One thing people need to learn about Henny is if you're new here, understand I'm not going to talk out of my bum hole. I'm going to speak with facts, especially when I'm dealing with court docs and court cases. And I was in the courtroom and I have given you everything that transpired in the courtroom truthfully and to the best of my ability. Okay. So I just wanted to beat my own horn because I told people that. I told y'all that was arguing with me. But anyway, let's go back to what she was saying. She turned over. I want y'all to remember this part of her statement here. She turned over evidence. She turned over pictures, videos, and text messages from her phone. Now, we're going to get into evidence that was not presented at trial that can be brought up in this case, because this is something right here that the judge can look at for sentencing. But anyway, let's continue and listen to what Gina has to say. She says, I want to emphasize that I understand the seriousness of this case and the pain others may feel. I cannot speak for anyone but myself. In terms of sentencing, I kindly ask that you consider releasing him back to his family. I understand throughout the process he has been cooperative and respectful, including turning himself in. Throughout this process, he has never once reached out to me or made me feel uncomfortable in any way. I believe he will continue to be compliant with the court's conditions upon release. I understand that accountability is important, and I'm not writing to dismiss the gravity of the charges, nor to criticize anyone. I write to express my perspective as a so-called victim. I write to express how I felt during the investigation and trial, and how I feel now waiting to hear the sentence. I felt compelled to share my own perspective honestly. I respectfully ask that you take my words into consideration when making your decision. Thank you for your time and allowing me to be heard. Virginia Hunt. Well, here we go. Once again, Gina is playing in our faces. That's what she's doing. She's playing in our faces, and I'm not having it. I'm not having it. 8 stops today. Now, if you don't know, I already did a video on Gina. I already exposed that she was on Tasha K. I already exposed what she said on Tasha K, and how she brought all of this story to us. So we are well aware that Gina, you did not feel safe. You were crying on camera, or were you crying on cue? Were you lying then, or are you lying now? That's what I want to know. And I'm not being harsh, or I'm not trying to come down on her because I'm angry. No. Let me tell you what I'm angry at before people start saying she's angry because she's sticking up for Diddy. No, what I don't like is the fact that you came on the World Wide Web and you told us your pain and sufferings at the hands of Diddy, allegedly. You told us that. You went into the office with the government and you told them your plight as well. Give me a second because I'm pulling up Gina's other letter that she wrote, okay? Because we're going to go through both of these letters, all right? We're not going to go through just one. And I'm not just going to give you half of the story. I'm going to give you the whole thing. All right? Here we go. Boom. Y'all remember this? This was submitted to the courts back in August. And Gina was writing then on Diddy's behalf. And all of us were questioning, how could you ever sit back and defend a man that you said did egregious things to you? Do y'all remember? She sat up there with Tasha K and was crying, and Tasha K said, your makeup looks so pretty. I don't want you to mess it up. Because she was talking about how Diddy made her terminate their child that they procreated and created, and then left her after having said termination to go to Burning Man with Cassie. You told us that story. We didn't make it up and pull it out of our bum holes. You told us this story. And we were all shocked, like, okay, now she must be on payroll again. This is the first letter that she wrote. The first letter she wrote says, I am writing as the person identified as victim 3 in this case. I have known Sean Combs for many years in both a personal and professional capacity. From that experience, I have seen him primarily as a father, a family man, and a businessman, roles that he has always striven to uphold. Striving? he's strived to uphold, okay? I provide this letter to share my observations about his character and to respectfully request that the court permit his release on bond while the case proceeds. I acknowledge and respect that Mr. Combs stands accused and that the courts might weigh public safety and the integrity of the legal process. At the same time, I believe it is important for the court to have a full picture of who he is beyond allegations. Our relationship, like many, was not always perfect. We experienced ups and downs, and mistakes were made, but he was willing to acknowledge his mistakes and make better decisions in the future. Now, pause. There has been nothing, absolutely nothing that he has said or done since incarceration, during this trial, after this trial, to show any remorse or take any accountability in whole for what he has done. Now, he admits to the violence because the violence is there. There's proof. There's evidence of that. And to some degree, by him asking for them to use the Black's Law definition of prostitution, shows that there's some level of him admitting to that, but not wanting to call it that. Now, let me come over here to the comment sections because there was a couple of things that had caught my eye when I began speaking. Hold on one second. I got to scroll up just a little bit. Okay, so Tiffany Drake says, I think he kicked her one too many times in the head. You know what, Tiffany? I'm not doing this with you. I'm not doing this with you. Okay, so Marie, you are one of the people that was telling me that Gina wasn't subpoenaed, but I hope you and we didn't have no, it wasn't a bad exchange, but I hope you see that she was subpoenaed. She says the government wouldn't push narrative if they didn't have evidence to corroborate evidence, as Cassie and Jane had. Hope government is sick of her and opens an investigation. Marie, you and I are on the same page when it comes to that, because one of the things that I have been harping on is the fact that, and Marie, thank you for coming to the bar and being over here. I appreciate you. And I appreciate the debates that we have. It's wonderful and refreshing. I just want to let you know that. But there's other people that have been nasty to me, so I'm talking to those people who've been nasty, the nasty ones. But one of the things I've been harping on is that if you or I were subpoenaed to go to court and we didn't go, there would be consequences and repercussions for our actions. Gina has not received any consequences or repercussions for her actions for not answering the subpoena. But I also think I need to go back to the other letter because there was something that she said in that letter that I wanted to address as well. Just Me says, do you guys think she's retracting her story because she's scared he will get out soon and he's going to come for her? I'm not sure if that's a possibility, but the thing about it is everybody got on the stand. Understand, I have the same smoke for Chef Jordan. It's not like I just have smoke for Gina. I have smoke for Chef Jordan as well, who pulled out. And the reason I say that is because sitting in the court, watching these people, listening to their testimonies, watching Capricorn Clark talk about how she was blackballed, listen to other people say that if they didn't do what he said that they would be blackballed, or how their careers have suffered afterwards, or they've never reached the level that they thought they would working for Bad Boy. All of them took the stand. And if all of you were taking the stand as a unified front, then you should have stuck to that agreement. Because now look at what happened. Gina was a chink in the chain, and her testimony was needed. Chef Jordan was a chink in the chain, and her testimony was needed. And they decided not to come and testify. Meanwhile, everybody else got up on that stand. Jane got on that stand and testified, and that man is still paying her rent to this day and paid for her legal fees. Which is backed up by the fact that not only did she testify to it, but Chef Jordan said that she had received a phone call from Diddy's prior attorneys before getting the dream team that he has now, that the attorney reached out to her and offered to pay her legal fees. Swagalow says, going to Burning Man trying to get rug burns is crazy work. Diddy a wild boy. Just Me said, not trying to give her patches. No, you're good. You're good. Okay, you are good. I sent you a message earlier apologizing. Baby, you don't gotta apologize to me. You were respectful, okay? You were respectful. So I didn't mind a discussing conversation with you. It's when people come in these lives and get nasty and want to talk to me crazy that I don't appreciate that. So if they're slick with me, I'm slick with them. You've never gotten smart with me. You've always been respectful, and we've had respectful conversations. So I appreciate you. Swagalo, I'm going to say it again. Diddy extortion game needs to be studied. Man behind the jail wall still controlling stuff. And we talked about his control yesterday. We talked about the control over the defense team. We talked about him trying to control the narrative. And we also talked about him not liking to take no for an answer. But now we're going to read this, finish reading this, and then go back to the previous one. So Gina goes on to say, over the years that followed, he made visible efforts to become a better person and to address the harm he had caused. By the time our relationship ended, he embodied an energy of love, patience, and gentleness that was marked differently from his past behavior. Now, how did he embody that energy when you was out here arguing with Carisha, please? And Carisha was exposing you. See, here's my thing. How would Diddy know that you were begging for a baby? I mean, how would Carisha know that you were begging for a baby if Diddy didn't tell her? Because you could have got on Tasha K and you could have lied. And Diddy could have told her that it was a lie. That means that Diddy was pillow talking about you to Carisha for him to know certain things about you that that Carisha shouldn't have known. But anyway, that was the first letter. I want to go back to the second letter because Gina. That's Mia. Okay, no, I said Gina. Here we are. Because Gina made some statements. Is this it? No, this is not it. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. It's the one prior to this right here. Okay. Hold on. Here we go. It's loading. It's loading, y'all. It's loading. While the document loads, please be sure that you are leaning on that like button on your way in. And make sure you hype the video, you guys. You get hypes to hype the videos. So, okay. I understand they concluded. All right. So she says she felt pressured to feel like a victim, right? That's one of the things that Gina said. But I don't understand how you could feel pressured to feel like a victim when you got on Tasha K and cried like a victim. Do I need to pull that video? Henny Glasses in the chat if y'all want me to pull that Tasha K interview one more time, just to refresh everybody's memory as to what we talking about when we talking about what we talking about over here. In the meantime and in between time, let me also draw your attention to the fact that there was a reply to sentencing that was done by the defense team today, which you already know. They're basically just submitting a 61-page document with all of these cases that they feel align with their decision, okay, of what they feel he should be sentenced with. They have the statutes and the codes in there. They're citing Black's Law in there. They've got all of this going on to back up their case, okay? So what is this document that they are pulling in? This is their last effort, okay? This is the last hoorah, so to speak. And I'm going to go all the way to the bottom of said document because we ain't about to read all of that. Again, I'm starting to realize that some of these documents need to be read on a podcast, okay? Basically, their conclusion is right here. After all they've said, they're asking for no more than 14-month imprisonment is the only reasonable and just sentence. But I am going to take us up to the beginning because I want y'all to hear how they have been speaking to this judge. Now, if you remember yesterday, I was reading the document and I was telling y'all that them coming out talking about she's a liar and this and that, it was very unprofessional. And the government called them out for that. So the way this starts is, as we have emphasized many times, the jury has spoken. The government presented its best case to 12 citizens to try to prove Sean Combs used threat, force, fraud, and coercion to compel his girlfriends to engage in freak-offs and hotel nights, and it failed. Mr. Combs now stands before the court to be sentenced for much less serious offenses. If fairness, justice, and the U.S. Constitution means anything, the jury's verdict should be respected. Mr. Combs should be sentenced for what he was convicted of: transporting consenting adults interstate to have sex and nothing more. You see how they're trying to... That's not what this is about. And let me tell you, I'm so sick of people spinning the narrative on what this is about. And if you're one of those people that feel like, oh, that's exactly what it is, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. They're skipping the prostitution part. Oh, I see the Henny glasses. Y'all are skipping the prostitution part, where people were paid to have smecks. We're missing that part. Are we not? It's transportation to engage in prostitution. They're changing it to say transporting consenting adults interstate to have smecks. Well, what about the international too? Because they were in Cannes. And they were in Turks and Caicos. And escorts were transported and paid to have smecks. And how do we know that? Because the escorts testified. And even if you go and watch their interviews on Vlad and Art of Dialogue, they tell you that when they did not all skeet up, they were paid less than when they finished the job strong. I'm just saying. Nikki says, I'm sorry. He did too much to hurt others. He needs to be rehabilitated. And I totally agree with y'all. I totally agree. Were y'all able to hear that? Do y'all hear that?
Like and subscribe.
Or no? Because I'm tired and I need to get my board working right. I'm just saying. But this is what they're saying. And it says, let's continue to go on to hear what they say. They said, instead of accepting the verdict and advocating a reasonable sentence, the government has gone to extreme lengths to justify a Drakian sentence, particularly for a 55-year-old man. Instead of addressing the conduct of which Mr. Combs was convicted, the government has devoted 161 pages to rehashing evidence rejected by the jury and concocting a far-fetched legal argument to try to jack up the guidelines range to an absurd 360 life level, as if he had been convicted not only of the acquitted charges, but also other uncharged offenses. It labels as victims numerous individuals who had nothing to do with the Mann Act charges, dredging up discredited witnesses like the woman who calls herself Mia, Deontay Nash, Brianna Bongalon, and even Jordan Atkins, a person whose allegations are so incredible the government pulled her from its witness list mid-trial and instead of pulling forth a reasonable guidelines range or addressing where this case fits within the relevant sentencing data the court directed the parties to provide, the government asked the court to treat it like a sexual assault or rape case that was not and could not have been charged. It is not difficult to see what is going on here. The prosecutors know full well the court will not actually adopt all of their unduly served enhancements or baseless arguments. But by taking their advocacy to the extreme, they hope to persuade the court to disregard Mr. Combs' position, split the baby, and adopt probation's recommendation. That would be a grave mistake. Probation made clear its recommendation is based on the premise that there was force, fraud, and coercion here. Its recommendation is improperly based, in other words, on acquitted conduct. In light of the jury's acquittals and longstanding GOJ policies and all of the relevant sentencing data, any sentence exceeding a modest long term along the lines requested by Mr. Combs would be unreasonable and disproportionate to other Mann Act cases. The government's advocacy in this case has gone beyond zealous. It is indecent and deeply troubling. It violates the revered principles so famously articulated by Attorney General Robert Jackson over 85 years ago about the appropriate role of federal prosecutors. Now, why are we always going back 1910, 85 years ago? We are in 2025. Can we stay in the present? He observed that because the prosecutor has more control over life, liberty, and reputation than any other person in America, these awesome powers must be tempered by the spirit of fair play and decency that should animate the federal prosecutors. As he explained, while you are being diligent, strict, and vigorous in law enforcement, you can also afford to be just. Although the government technically loses its case, it has really won if justice has been done. Moreover, a sensitiveness to fair play and sportsmanship is perhaps the best protection against the abuse of power. And the citizen's safety lies in the prosecutors who tempers zeal and human kindness, who seek truth and not victims, who serve the law and not practical purposes, and who approaches with task with humility. So let me ask y'all something. Let me stop this letter right here and let me ask you something. What was humane about what Diddy did? Was there any humanity in that? Was that not overzealous? Because again, while narratives are being pushed out into the media by legacy media, and let's be very clear, Mark Garagos, he's a very good trial attorney. But like he said in an interview, he's represented Diddy multiple times, and now his daughter, who's carrying his grandchild, is one of the prosecutors on Diddy's team. So he has a personal interest in this, and he has a biased opinion. You've got other people out here saying, give him this and give him that. But I'm going to tell you where the defense slipped up at in their response to Mia, for me. That shows me that they're watching certain particular newscasters and new legacy media because they're starting to regurgitate some of the rhetoric that's being spewed. The defense's team is to provide smoke and mirrors and to poke holes into the prosecution's case. Their job is to present a case where their client looks as innocent as they possibly can make them look. It's their job to cause reasonable doubt when it comes down to testimony and victims and evidence in the case. Their job is to screw it all around, to get their client off. Their job is to get their client off or get them the least amount of time as possible. That's their job. And they've been doing a hell of a job at doing their job. But the government's job is to be the voice who seeks justice for those who step forward as victims. Nobody said that Cassie was lying and that she was not a victim of Diddy when she filed her lawsuit. Nobody was saying that Cassie was exaggerating things. When she filed that lawsuit and everybody read it, everyone was in shock and awe. But then all of a sudden, she takes the stand, big and pregnant, and gives her testimony from her own mouth instead of off of paper. And all of a sudden, Cassie became this villain, this vicious liar who was making up things. But she wasn't making nothing up when she first filed. When we first heard the case, nobody was screaming that but Diddy. And then those who believed Diddy, that he never laid a hand on Cassie, got knocked out their socks when they saw that Intercontinental video of him knocking her out her socks and kicking her in her ass. And then when we went into trial and saw more evidence of more abuse and heard of more violence, because that's what this is, it's violence. Domestic or not, it's violence. It's even in the name, domestic violence. And what is domestic violence? It's not just about partners. It's not just about lovers. Any violence that happens between two people that are intimate or that are family related is considered domestic. So my thing is, when all of these lawsuits were coming out, right? When Dawn Richard first filed her lawsuit, nobody called her a liar. You got to think about some of this stuff. None of those people were deemed liars. Now, I'm going to tell you the ones I did call liars. I called them Tony Busby cases. I said them Busby cases was felonious. I said them Busby cases was reading like bad TV, Tubi movies. And I bring this up because some of the same people that are running with the narrative that these people are liars are the same people that was on their side. When Brianna Bongalon's case hit, people weren't saying that she was lying. And the judge himself spoke about Brianna and the location and all of that. And how Brianna was on a lot of drugs back then by her own omission, and so was Cassie. But the fact that the girl had photographs of her injuries and then a text message between KK and Cassie that nobody likes to talk about occurred a couple of days after Brianna says the incident happened, where Cassie texts KK and said that Diddy was dangling Brianna over the balcony. She said that. So there's no way in hell that you're going to tell me that Brianna and Cassie, like I said when this first happened, sat back and plotted and schemed way back then and said, oh, come 2023, 2024, we're going to sue him jointly. But we got to lay the groundwork now, all the way back in 2000, whatever, when it happened. See, there's a lot of evidence that people like to skip over, but it actually is evidence that proves that something happened. But a lot of people have sat up and taken a side because they want to be a part of the winning team. Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm on the victim side because I watched them. I listened to their story. All right. So now they have submitted their arguments, okay, on why they feel that he should not get a long sentence. All right. And we already know that this is how the defense team has put out their information on what they feel in their case that they have been presenting and fighting. OK, the defense is leaning heavy on the president. That means that pulling up all of these other federal cases that sound like Diddy's Mann Act case, that sound like the charges that he's being convicted with, that they actually back them up with this whole kind of, well, this is what they got, so give it to him as well. The defense is also trying to paint Diddy as the average Joe. And while I'm not going to sit here and say because he's a celebrity that he should be tried and charged any differently than the average Joe. But one of the things that everybody in this court and everybody who watched this case and everybody who's keeping up with this case can say is that there's never been a case like this before. So the importance of this case, the uniqueness of this case will set a precedent for other cases that come behind it. Because they will forever refer to the United States versus Sean John Combs. Okay? And so basically what they're saying is if these other men did not get 11 years, that he shouldn't get 11 years. And they're trying to strip away all of the fame and the headlines and the drama. But what was shown in court is that there was years of controlling, not just the women on the stand. It was controlling the people around him. And as far as the girlfriends, forcing them into freak-offs, threatening them if they spoke up, and using drugs and money as weapons, that's what the government is saying here. Now, that's the government's allegations, and the evidence that was shown in court, it backs up some of these allegations that the government has made. Now, when it comes down to the judge, people keep saying that the judge can't look at this and the judge can't do that. The judge can consider the victim impact statements of all of them, because regardless to whether they were charged or not, it speaks to his character. They all testified to portions of their lives where they experienced different things at the hands of Diddy. Now, he can also deal with the evidence from the trial, even if it wasn't part of the conviction. But what he cannot do is convict based off of that evidence of anything that he was acquitted of. The reason why this violence keeps coming up is because the judge can use the past violent behavior against him as well. Even if he was never criminally charged with every single incident, the judge can absolutely use this because it shows a past history and a pattern of violence. They can also bring into play the drug use and say that it's part of a lifestyle because it connects to how he controlled and coerced people. Oh. What he can't do is sentence Diddy for crimes that he was never accused of at all. He cannot sentence Diddy for crimes that he was acquitted of. And he cannot go above the maximum guideline sentencing allowed by law. He can't go above the maximum. And based on what the public wants and personal feelings, the judge can't give a damn about none of that. So when the judge sits down, he's allowed to say, I see a man who has a pattern of violence, right? Who's used cocaine and ecstasy and trapped these women into freak-offs, who built a lifestyle around exploitation. And even if the jury didn't convict on every story, I see a clear pattern here with him. The judge can say that. And that's deadly for Diddy because his past is not just messy, as we know. It lines perfectly with the Mann Act convictions. Like, this is the part that I'm not understanding. What's not clicking, Steven? It aligns with the charges. Now, the violence, Cassie described years of being beaten. Jane described being terrified by saying no. Some of the other employees that testified to witnessing violence. Hell, Mia testified to having a whole laptop thrown at her head. The drug use. How Diddy had a whole medicine bag full of E-pills, Xanax, Plan Bs, Percocets, Molly, cocaine, Tusi, you name it, he freaking had it in that bag. And that bag was being transported. And ketamine and all of that. And it went with him everywhere he goes. It was his buddy. All right? The freak-offs. The freak-offs are the epitome and the center stage for these Mann Act convictions, because the freak-offs are where the Smex was recorded. It's where the prostitutes were having the Smex with Cassie and Jane, and Diddy was sitting there recording all of it. Even though it was for self-gratification later, he was still recording it, and that's video evidence of Mann Act violations. He also orchestrated them. He coerced by blackmailing. So these are all things that the judge is going to take into consideration when he sits down and he looks at the 11.5 from the government, the 7.5 from the PSR, and the 14 months from the defense. Now, what I looked at and what I saw from looking up information is that the judge rarely goes as low as the defense wants, especially when there's Smex and violence involved in any of this. They rarely ever go where the defense wants them. And they rarely go as high as the government wants them either. Let me say that. But based off of what I've looked at, and I'm not a lawyer, but based off of what I've looked at, based off of people that I've spoken to that have dealt with the federal system and who are not being biased, they've said that it's a possibility that while a lot of us are saying 3 or 5 years, that he could actually get 7 or 10. We don't know. We don't know. We're all taking a guesstimation at what he could get. But this is the reality of the situation. It's somewhere between that. So we've gotten 20 years off the table. We know he's not going to get 14 months and get time served and walk out tomorrow. I just don't see that happening. Even if they just said 2 years, I don't see him coming home tomorrow. I don't. Especially being that, like I said in last night's video, Diddy has not shown any remorse, and Diddy has shown that you can't tell him no. Through his behaviors of trying to get bail to get out ever since he first got arrested. So, yeah, he's been nonstop submitting. And like he's always negotiating. And like I said yesterday, a good businessman is always negotiating, but this is non-negotiable. Now, there's also a psychological aspect of things when it comes down to this whole you can't tell Diddy no thing. Because like I said, Cassie said it, Jane said it, Mia said it, Deontay said it, George Kaplan said it. Everybody said it that got on that stand. Everyone in his circle. All right. And like I've been explaining, the behavior in court, the filing motion after motion, demanding special bail conditions, refusing to take no from the judge, the same energy that he used to control Cassie, Jane, his employees, he's been bringing that into the courtroom. And the system is finally telling him no, and he's not feeling it. But just like the women who tried to say no, he's refusing to accept it. Instead of, okay, I'm having my day in court October 3rd. No, you go and you file a motion for an acquittal or a new trial. Instead of letting your attorneys find cases that could back you up to possibly get you less time, you're still trying to get freedom. So, where does all of this leave us, right? That's where we are. Where does this leave us? With the government wanting the max and the defense wants to slap on the wrist. Well, in my opinion, given the violence and the drugs and the freak offs and the fact that he never took no for an answer and still ain't, I believe the judge is going to land closer to the PSR. I still say maybe 5 to 7. I don't know. Because I could even be wrong and he could get 3. But I don't see the time served. And I'm going to say because of the history, because the reason I'm sitting and I'm like, I don't know, but I don't see time served is because I've looked at the history of Diddy and court cases and how Diddy has gotten away with so much. And you really can't tell where it's going to land. I mean, we were around for the Shine case, for the nightclub shooting case. I meant to take that off the stage. My bad, y'all. While I was talking to y'all, but I wasn't on this screen. I was looking at other content that I wanted to bring forward. Oh no. Make me a square or a rectangle again. Yeah. Oh, that was weird and freaky to me. But yeah. I'm looking forward to tomorrow so that we can kind of get this portion of programming out of the way. But I'm also going to say this. I don't see Diddy, if they come back and they convict, if it's anything besides what it is that Diddy wants, I don't see Diddy just taking that and being okay with it. What I see happening and what I believe is already there is that I believe that his attorneys have already, they've already put their paperwork together to file for an appeal. He's gonna appeal this. Just know that this case is not over. Diddy's going to appeal it, and he's probably going to ask for a new judge during the appeals process. Even though Judge Submaranian has, for the most part, been fair, when the government needed to get that ass smacked, he spanked it. He put belt to ass. So, I don't know. We're all just going to have to wait and see what's going to happen.
Like and subscribe.
Now, y'all said y'all wanted me to pull that Tasha K interview. We'll pull it. Oh, no, I had something else I had to show y'all before I do that. Wait a minute. Whoop. Rewind. Calm down, selector. Hold on. I had something else I needed to show you guys because Judge Submarinian, he had responded. Okay, what the hell? What the helly? What the heliante? I've got too many damn windows open if I'm being honest with y'all. All right, so let me clear my throat. Was there just a Krishan Sector troll in here? Chat. Because that's what I thought I saw just a second ago. I don't know why you keep trying to come over here. You're not about to come over here and uck with me. I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood. I'm here to give my content. Anyway, all right. So y'all remember this letter that Mia wrote, right? So Mia asked if she would be able to come and speak in the court, right? And the freaking defense was like, hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Did y'all hear that? Look at Diddy docket just submitted it. Okay. All right, give me a second. All right. So Mia, she had requested to come, and 50 Cent did not write a letter. I know y'all lying to me. Hold on. Henny legal. Okay, I got something. Okay, I'm checking right now. I know y'all are lying to me. Y'all are fucking lying to me. Diddy did not send, 50 did not send a letter. Oh no, I didn't get anything. Hold on. Let me go to X real quick. Y'all are lying to me. 50 did not, no. Diddy docket. Doing great, Your Honor. I've been wanting to tell you this. You're doing a great... Yeah, he did. Okay, he did say that in court. This is another... Holy shit. Y'all. Okay. We're going to read this right now. Wait a minute. 50 wrote a letter? Diddy wrote a letter. But 50 didn't write a letter. Wait, hold on. Marie. I'm going to ask Marie because y'all playing with me. Marie, did 50 write a letter too? Because I see Diddy wrote a letter. Hold on. Diddy wrote a letter. Okay, y'all gonna leave me alone. Thank you. She said read it out loud, girl. Not read it out loud like we in class. Wait a minute. I think I might want to get down in the corner for this one. Hold on. Let me put this up here real quick. Shout out to Diddy Dockets. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I want to get in the corner. I don't want to be on this. Okay, I want to get down here. I want to be in the corner. All right. Here we go. Y'all. Here we go. Wait a minute. I got to move y'all so I can read this. Wait, can I zoom in? Okay, I can zoom in. Y'all ready? Hold on. I got to turn my music off. Wait a minute. There's so much happening right now. What is happening? All right. Boom. I'm going to turn my music off. Y'all ready? Every day since my incarceration, as difficult as my circumstances currently are, I've made the best of my time by reading books, writing, working out, or in therapy, obtaining the tools and knowledge to deal with my past drug abuse and anger issues. I have been putting in the work and working diligently to become the best version of myself to ensure that I never make the same mistake again. I realize that I'm in a situation where no amount of money, power, or fame can save me. Only God can save me. My grandmother used to teach me that God makes no mistake and that everything he does is for your good. I believe that a bad situation can be used for good. Although this situation has been the hardest and darkest time in my life, good things have come out of my incarceration. For starters, I'm now sober for the first time in 25 years. I'll give him a hand clap for that. I will give him a hand clap for that because he is sober. He is sober. Okay? I've been trying my best to deal with my drug abuse and anger issues and take accountability as well as positive steps towards healing. One of the most beautiful things I have experienced is being asked by my fellow inmates. Hold on. I didn't mean to do that. By my fellow inmates to teach and mentor them. They want to learn what I did to become a successful businessman. I was inspired by their hunger and desire to learn information in order to not only set goals, but achieve any goal/dream that their hearts desire. I started teaching a 6-week program called Free Game, title given by my fellow inmates, which I was able to have approved and sanctioned by the BOP. I didn't just teach about my success. I don't just teach about my success. I also teach about my mistakes and failures. It has truly been a blessing to do something positive in a negative situation. It has been beautiful to see the newfound hope in my fellow inmates' eyes. The most shocking thing was to see the unity and the peace this class has produced. As you're probably aware, jails and prisons are segregated places. However, in our class, we have Black, Spanish, white, and Asian all together in one room, learning and working together. We even have an interpreter for the Spanish-speaking inmates. The biggest miracle that I've seen with this class is all of the gangs such as Bloods, Crips, MS-13s, Torettos, and 18th Streets in one room working together. I'm also proud to say that me in my time of need and despair, that since this class started, there have been no fights in our unit. This class has also helped me in my time of need and despair. Being able to do something good for others has also given me much needed hope. God blessed me with this opportunity to help others, and I will continue to do so. I ask you for mercy today, not only for my sake, but for the sake of my children. God blessed me with 7 beautiful children, 3 sons, 4 daughters. Their names are Quincy, Justin, Kristen, Chase, Jesse, Delilah, and the newest addition, a 2-year-old daughter, Love. 4 of my children lost their mother, Kim Porter, as she tragically passed away in 2018. I'm their only parent. I have failed my children as a father. My father was murdered when I was 3 years old, so I know firsthand what it is to not have a father. More than anything, I just want the opportunity to return home and be the father that they need. Hold on. And deserve. God also blessed me with the greatest mother in the world. My mother sacrificed her life and dreams to provide for me and my younger sister, Keisha. She worked 3 jobs to make sure we had a roof over our heads, clothes on our backs, and the best education. My mother is now 84 years old, and she recently had brain surgery. Despite her own health challenges, she attended my trial every day. I have always been her primary caregiver. It breaks my heart that I put myself in this situation, and for the first time, I'm unable to be there for my mother when she needs me most. As I write you this letter, I'm scared to death, scared to spend another second away from my mother and my children. I no longer care about the money or fame. There is nothing more important to me than my family. I understand that one factor the court has to consider is deterrence. Deterrence for me and for others to ensure that no one follows in my footsteps and makes the same mistake. For over a year, I have been locked in one room with 25 other incarcerated people, sharing the same one room. In this room that I share, there are no windows, there is no natural/clean air, there is no sunlight, and we all live in one room. We eat, sleep, use the toilet, take showers, and prepare meals all in the same room. The conditions that my actions have placed me in are inhumane. I don't tell you this for pity or sympathy. I'm simply sharing my truth and the truth of my fellow incarcerated people. We have no clean drinking water, and we boil our drinking water. We all share one washing machine, which is broken. I'm surrounded by drugs and live every day in the constant threat of being stabbed or losing my life. Again, I'm not expecting pity or sympathy, but my time at MDC has changed me forever. Prior to being in jail, I took care of and was present for my family. Being in jail, and because of my conduct, I have lost the ability to care for my mother. I lost the ability to effectively raise and support my children. I have missed my 3 daughters' proms and graduations. I have missed taking one of my daughters to college. I have lost the freedom to teach my 2-year-old how to speak, dance, play, or be there to console her when she falls down or has a nightmare. I started from nothing and worked hard to earn everything I had. But because of my conduct, I have lost all my businesses. I have lost my career. I lost the charter schools that I started, and I have destroyed my reputation and stained the reputation of those that worked for me. I lost my being present with my family. Between all of my losses and lessons, I can state for a fact that I will never be in another criminal courtroom again, and I do not believe any other person would do anything similar from fear of similar punishment. If you give me a chance, I would like the opportunity to share my story with people to prevent at least one person from making the mistake that I have. I can't change the past, but I can change the future. I know that God put me here to transform me. Since incarceration, I have gone through a spiritual reset. I'm on a journey that will take time and hard work. I'm proud to say I'm working harder than I ever have before. I'm committed to the journey of remaining a drug-free, non-violent, and peaceful person. I thank God that I'm stronger, wiser, cleaner, and sober. God makes no mistakes. I realize that this trial has received a tremendous amount of global press, and Your Honor may be inclined to make an example out of me. I would ask Your Honor to make me an example of what a person can do if afforded the second chance. If you allow me to go home to my family, I promise I will not let you down, and I will make you proud. Today I humbly ask for another chance to be a better father, another chance to be a better son, another chance to be a better leader in my community, and another chance to live a better life. I'm writing this not to gain any sympathy or pity. This experience is simply the truth of my existence and has changed my life forever, and I will never commit a crime again. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sean Combs. Oh, for those who say that this is not me, it is most certainly me, honey. I know there's probably some folks that are going to be like, Henny, you're a bitch after I say this. And I don't care. I don't care. Okay. You know how they say think before you speak? That's what I was doing. I was taking a moment to think before I spoke. Now, that's a very well written letter. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? I need to ask y'all, can you hear this? Do y'all hear that? Okay. She said, yup. Yes, ma. Okay. Because I'm going to need this. Diddy wrote a very beautiful letter. However, I'm not buying it. Because in that letter, not one time did he cop to what he did. I did not hear an apology to Cassie. I didn't hear an apology to Jane. I didn't even hear an apology to the family that he spoke highly of. I didn't hear an apology to his business colleagues. I didn't hear an apology to any of the employees that were with him. I didn't hear remorse for anything that he did. What I hear is regret that he ended up locked up and incarcerated. What I heard was him praising what he has done in that jail system by creating a program that put him front and center and made him the center of attention. I heard him say that he brought gangs together and created peace within his jail cells, only for him to turn around and talk about how he's at risk of being stabbed. Now, I understand that the risk to be stabbed or shanked is always there, but you've made yourself the victim even in this letter. I don't see accountability for anything that he did. I don't see ownership for the hurt and the pain that he has caused people, the trauma that anyone has to live through. I didn't see any of that or hear any of that in that letter. What I heard was self-gratification, pleading with the judge to give him a second chance at his life because of what he's done to his life and his family. What about the family of Cassie? What about the family of Jane? What about the family of Gina, even though Gina is saying she's not a victim? What about the family of Capricorn Clark? What about the family of all of those people who worked for you that had to hear the type of person that they had to work for? What about all of the employees, since you claim you've lost businesses? What about all of the employees who are now unemployed or they suffer reputable harm because they worked for you? And you had to listen in trial about how all of these employees were complacent to Diddy's demands, including but not limited to copping drugs, including but not limited to setting up freak-off rooms, including but not limited to cleaning up behind the freak-offs. I didn't hear anything from him that said, I'm sorry. So for me, it's a no. Lock his ass up. Sorry.
What the f?
What did I just read? If anybody is not feeling what I just said, then that's on you. What did I just say before we read that letter? No remorse. He's feeling bad for the way that he has not been there for his children. Did he even mention anything about how his children have suffered? Let's go over here and let's see what our favorite troll is up to. Because everybody is saying, please, please check 50's letter. Oh, it's her birthday. I forgot about that. Okay. Hold on. Sent an attachment. I cannot take him seriously. I refuse to take 50 Cent seriously. I'm not doing it. I'm not taking him seriously. Let's see what Curtis Jackson has had to say about all of this, okay? Here we go. Dear Judge Submarinian, I have had an ongoing dispute with Puffy for over 20 years. He is very dangerous. Multiple times I have feared for my life. I think you should consider the safety of the general public, Your Honor, before unleashing him upon them. There hasn't been enough time for him to reform or make any adjustments, despite his trying to teach a class in there. As you are already aware, the government has spent the maximum amount of money on deploying federal agencies, which appear to be an army, in 2 locations simultaneously. Later, his son, who's dealing with his own grape allegations, claimed that the feds had hit the wrong house anyway. Diddy's only going to return to hire more male sex workers and keep most of the baby oil away from the general public.
Wow.
And babies need it. My Netflix doc on this scandalous subject is coming soon.
Like and subscribe.
I can't do this with 50 today. I cannot do this with 50 today. What I will say is 50, while he's being funny, he's speaking what most of us is already thinking. Reading 50's letter after reading Diddy's letter is hilarious. Go ahead and submit it, 50. He spoke about the general public. He's talking about we the people. We the people need to be protected. Okay, we need to be protected because what? Okay, I don't know what this one is. I needed that. Anyway. Child, I look. I don't know what to say, do, feel, or think after hearing all of this. But before we go, I say 50, submit the letter. Okay? That would be the ultimate troll, to actually send the letter into the judge. And he should have said, I am the baby daddy to the pseudonym Jane. And my child was subjected to Puffy's bullshit. People don't like what I got to say, and I don't give a fuck, okay? I don't give a lovely mother... Oh, where's my censor? About anybody feeling a way about how I'm feel, because you can get the off of my channel, because I'm going to say what the I want to say when I want to say it. You can suck my the now. Now, moving right along, before Diddy before his letter came up, we were looking at Judge Submaranian's response to Mia testifying. Now, Mia, the government said, hey, Mia wants to testify. The defense came back and said, she ain't getting on the stand. She's a lying. And she got up here and she lied before. Keep that off of the stand, Your Honor. Even though they didn't say it like that, that's the tone that they was in. Anyway, so Judge Submarine replied, and he said, the government's motion is granted. And I know Diddy's team was not here for it. Now, Judge Submaranian said, Mia gets to testify. The government cites to United States versus Sansone, which held as follows. While the CVRA requires certain victims with a statutory right to speak, it does not impose limits on who the district court may allow to speak. District courts have broad discretion both as to the type of information that they may consider in imposing sentences and the sources from which the information derives. Okay? He goes on to say that Congress has not placed arbitrary limits on what information a district court may consider at sentencing. Victims' one testimony about the damaging effects of Sansone's conduct was relevant to the district court's consideration of the statutory purposes of sentencing, and Sansone held a fair opportunity to respond in his remarks to the district court. In response to the defense cites no authority that would support exclusion of Mia from speaking during the sentencing hearing. Though the defense argues that Mia has been discredited, it doesn't explain why she should be excluded, given that the defense will of course be afforded a fair opportunity to respond to any remarks that Mia makes. The clerk of court is respectfully directed to terminate the motion at ECF number 519. Mia will be testifying in court tomorrow. So she's going to give her victim impact statement to a room full of people, including Diddy and including a lot of the haters out here that have called her nothing but a liar, including the defense attorneys. Now, I know a lot of people are mad at me right now, baby. Y'all seen them numbers drop. They did not like what Henny had to say, and I don't give up. This is my channel. I'm going to say what I want to say, and this is what I said, and that's how I feel, and this is what I feel like should happen. So you could actually suck a... Anyway. Well, you guys, that's going to do it on this Diddy Doc update. Now, we'll probably be late night pouring up a little bit over here on YouTube later on because I have other court docs that you guys are going to want to hear about, because there is a famous CEO that had all of his belongings auctioned today. Do y'all know who that CEO was? I ain't going to tell you. Even though you might know, I ain't finna tell you. Oh, Amy, you is late, honey. You is tardy to the party. You is going to have to go back and you was going to have to catch the replay. We done talked about Gina. We done talked about the motion that the defense done put in. We done talked about 50's letter, Diddy letter, Mia letter. We done talked about everything and broke it all the way down, baby. We've been over here for a funky good time for a whole hour. Okay, Diddy's letter came after Mia allowed to speak. Yes, Yes, yes. Thank you, Marie. It did come after she was allowed to speak. See, I was going to read Mia first and then read him, but I know that was the hot ticket that everybody wanted to hear. Court is 10 a.m. tomorrow at 500 Pearl Street in Midtown Manhattan. In Lower Manhattan. I will not be there, but we will be here. Okay? We will be here. I have to place a couple of phone calls because I know a couple of people that are down there. And hopefully they'll come up on the channel and they would speak and give us some information from the inside. I did not go because I don't feel Diddy is coming home. Not only that, the crowdfunding was not there. And last time I went, I was out of pocket for those 7 weeks that the trial went on. I was out of pocket with everything for the most part. So I was not doing that again this time, even though I would have been flying in today to be to court tomorrow and probably flying out on Monday because it's cheaper to fly on Monday. I still would have needed to room and board, eat, all of that, travel, blah, blah, blah. The crowdfunding wasn't there. And I said that. I said that when I was up there during the trial. I said, if the crowdfunding is not there, I'm not coming back up here. And so the crowdfunding wasn't there, but I'm still going to cover it. I'm still going to cover it. But yeah, so we're going to find out what the sentencing is going to be tomorrow. Okay, you guys, D-Day for Diddy is tomorrow. Now, y'all be sure that y'all get y'all a nice, good night's rest because we probably going to be live all day tomorrow and I'll be streaming on all platforms. All right. Today we just streamed from YouTube and from Facebook. So shout out to the YouTube family and the Facebook family. Later on, we will be streaming exclusively on Twitch and here on YouTube. I also am going to work on some press box stuff. So if you don't get the late night tonight, you will definitely get it tomorrow because, you know, Fridays, we are always late night at the bar on Friday. Anyway, y'all be good how y'all be good. Remember, when you vibe high so the bullshit don't stick. And I'll see y'all in the next pour up, y'all. The bar is closed, everybody. Peace, y'all.